Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak grew up in those neighborhoods. The birthplace of Apple Computer is within walking distance of Stevens Creek Reservoir in the foothills of Cupertino. I grew up riding my bike there. I'm sure they did too. What most people do not know is that the foothills behind and surrounding the reservoir are designated California fire zones. And what happens in those foothills does not stay in those foothills. The fire risk, the disclosure requirements, the insurance consequences, they all roll downhill into the suburbs where we grew up, into the homes that home sellers are listing now and in the future without knowing what California law already requires of them or their insurance companies. This is Housing Market Savvy. I'm Pat Kapowicz, a California real estate broker. In this episode, as part of a series, Laws That Did Not Get Much Attention. Today, Assembly Bill 38, in effect since 2021. This episode is part of my series, Laws That Did Not Get Much Attention. Today, Assembly Bill 38, in effect since 2021, and its follow-up bill, Assembly Bill 3074, which creates Zone 0. Most home sellers have never heard of either one. This is the information you must have before you enter the market, whether you're in a fire zone or not, because insurance companies are watching. Assembly Bill 38 is already the law. Zone 0 is coming, and insurance companies are not waiting for the government. Today, these two laws reach far beyond the boundaries most home sellers think they cover. Assembly AB 38 was signed October 2nd, 2019. The legislature wrote its justification directly into the bill. Wildfires in the western United States now occur nearly 4 times more often than in 1986. They burn more than 6 times the land area. They last almost 5 times as long. More than 2 million California households, 1 in 4 residential structures, sit within or in a wildfire movement proximity of high or very high hazard severity zones. That is a legislative finding written into the law itself. And for Silicon Valley specifically, the legislature noted that seismic risk areas face the additional likelihood of wildfires igniting from downed power lines and ruptured gas lines caused by earthquakes. AB 38 is not a mountain law, it's our law. 3 phases, all in effect. Phase 1, January 1st, 2021. Home sellers with homes built before January 1st, 2010, in high or very high fire zones must disclose fire hardening vulnerabilities. Wood shake roofs, oversized vents, single pane windows, combustibles within 5 feet of structures. Homes built on or after January 1st, 2010 are exempt from this phase, but not Phase 2. Phase 2, July 1st, 2021. Every home seller in a high or very high fire zone, regardless of build date, must provide defensive space documentation from a government agency, CAL FIRE, a local fire authority, not a private inspector. The certificate is valid for 6 months. If it cannot be obtained before closing, the home seller and the home buyer sign a written agreement on the California Association of Realtors Fire Hardening Disclosure and Advisory Form, committing the home buyer to obtaining it within 1 year of closing. Phase 3, July 1st, 2025. The State Fire Marshal's low-cost retrofit is now part of the required disclosure. Home sellers must indicate whether the retrofits were completed during their ownership, where Assembly Bill 38 ripples beyond its boundaries. The law applies when a transfer disclosure statement, that's a questionnaire for a home seller, is required. Certain transactions, some trust sales, estate sales, court order sales, may be transfer disclosure statement exempt, also known as TDS. If no TDS is required, AB 38 fire hardening disclosure obligations might not apply. But this is not a blanket exemption. Consult a licensed real estate attorney before assuming you are exempt. And here's what never changes regardless of exemption status. The home buyer still needs homeowner insurance. Most lenders require it before funding. No insurance means no funding, no closing. Vegetation management on the property owner never goes away either. That is an ongoing ownership obligation, not a transaction obligation. The follow-up bill, Zone 0. Assembly Bill 3074 is the follow-up to Assembly Bill 38. It creates Zone 0. No combustible material within 5 feet of the structure. No bark, no mulch, no dry brush, no bushes, no tree branches. Nothing that burns within 5 feet of your home. Zone 0 is not fully enforced. The Board of Forestry is finalizing regulations targeted for the end of 2026. Once adopted, existing homeowners have approximately 3 years to comply. But insurance companies are not waiting. They draw their own risk boundaries. A home outside a designated fire zone can still be denied coverage or face non-renewal if an insurer determines it presents wildfire risk. Since 2022, the California Insurance Commissioner has mandated discounts for homeowners maintaining fire-safe conditions. CAL FIRE updates zone maps every year. Insurers are already pricing tomorrow's reclassification into today's decision. The zone boundary is not a shield. 5 steps before you list a home for sale. CAL FIRE put it simply, keep your property leaning green. Here's how you do it before your transaction depends on it. Step 1, order a natural hazard disclosure report. It's about $100. Most companies do not charge unless escrow closes if you order it through escrow, but order it as soon as you can. Know your zone status before a home buyer does. Step 2, get your defensive space certificate early, if possible. Contact CAL FIRE or your local fire authority now, not after escrow opens. Or be proactive. Perhaps you're not thinking of selling, but we have life changes. The certificate is valid for 6 months. Only a government agency can issue a valid one. A private inspector does not satisfy the law. Step 3, go leaning green. Every property, every zone. Clear combustibles within 5 feet of the structure. Trim tree branches 10 feet from the roof. Clean gutters. Remove debris under decks. Within 30 feet, reduce fuel loads. Out of 100 feet, thin vegetation. Defensive space protects your home from embers, direct flame, and radiant heat. Do it before a report flags it. Step 4, hardening the property. Not everyone is ready, willing, and able to do this. However, homes built before January 1st, 2010, consider a Class A roof, ember-resistant vents, dual-pane tempered glass, sealed eaves and soffits, metal gutter covers, non-combustible fencing at the structure connection point. For homes built on or after January 1st, 2010, focus on defensible space and the fire marshal retrofit list. Every improvement adds market value and reduces insurance cost. Step 5. Pre-qualify for fire insurance before you list. Treat fire insurance like a loan pre-approval. Most lenders require it before funding. Know your property's insurability now. Close coverage gaps before you list your home for sale, not after you've ratified a transaction with the home buyer, and everything depends on it. I rode my bike to Stevens Creek Reservoir as a kid. The foothills were just part of the landscape, beautiful, close, familiar. What none of us knew then was that one day the fire risk in those foothills would reach downhill. through the disclosure laws, through the insurance policy, into the suburbs, through the real estate transaction, into every neighborhood below. That day is here. 1 in 4 California residential structures sits within or in wildfire movement proximity of a high or very high fire hazard severity loan. Assembly Bill 38 is fully in effect. Zone 0 is coming. Insurance companies are already enforcing their own standards on both sides of the boundary. Do not let your guard down because your home is outside a designated fire zone. Zone maps change every year. A home buyer who cannot get fire insurance cannot close your escrow, regardless of what today's Cal Fire map says. Harden your property, manage your vegetation, confirm your insurability. Do it before you list. I will update you on Zone 0 in depth through this podcast, Assembly Bill 3074, still being finalized right now, and why it already affects homeowner insurance on properties both inside and outside designated fire zones. I'm Realtor Pat Capowicz, California real estate broker, DRE number 00979413, SiliconValleyBroker.com. Be sure to check back for more information and visit my website for risk management techniques as well as housing statistics. This is Housing Market Savvy, and the serious laws that did not get much attention but should have. Take care.